Welcome back. The 2019 Matric results were released yesterday and there was an increment in the pass rate. While the country is celebrating those who passed, there sadly are those who did not that are going through a lot. Chances are many of them do not know what to do next as there are very few options for them. Even those that passed, there are challenges that are waiting for them as they go to institutions of higher learning. Now, to talk more about the challenges of those who passed and who did not, we are joined by a student life coach from UNISA Dr Disa Mogashana. Dr Mogashana, good evening and thank you for joining us on The Globe.
Thank you, Lulu.
Now, Dr Mogashana, what do you make of this year's Matric pass rate? A lot of excitement. I mean, even the minister was saying that, hey, she's ready to go, 80% and above. She's very happy.
Yes, I think we can just acknowledge that and congratulate the class of 2019 for the job well done. For me in particular, I'm very proud of the Free State, the performance of the Free State province being #1. I was born and raised there, finished there, so I'm very proud of that. Very proud of the Western Cape as well as a province that produced the best performing NSC student. I did all my 3 degrees there. And Gauteng,
yes.
I live here. I mean, as the province that produced the largest number of bachelor passes. And of course, the cherry on top, that I live in the best performing district in Gauteng. So I'm very proud of that. So,
right.
Yes.
Now, let's move on to the learners that did not pass. Sadly, there are those who did not make it, and you know, they are going through a difficult time, especially you know, not seeing their student numbers in the newspapers, which is a very difficult thing to go through. How do they deal with that? What do you say to them when you speak to them to sort of motivate them in not really despairing or going into depression?
I think for them, my message to them is to not despair. Life is like a journey. Life is like a race, if you take it as a race. And during a race, there are some moments where things are difficult. There are some places where you may fall, you get bruised. I think my message for them is to take this as that moment where they need to pause and where they need to, yes, acknowledge the pain that they're feeling, but to not give up on themselves. I'd like to use a quote from the book The Alchemist that says, the secret to life is to fall 7 times, but to get up 8 times. So they have to lift themselves up. This is just one of those moments in life, and they have the power within themselves to recover and to persist and to find a new way of forging forward in life. So this is not the end. They can get up the 8th time.
What are their options?
Look, I think for people who didn't pass Matric, the options depend on what they find as they evaluate themselves. I think for me it's the moment for them to pause and to ask themselves, who am I? Why am I here? And in asking those questions, I know for 18-year-olds to ask themselves those questions, it's a little bit difficult. But to stop to say, who am I and why am I here? For some, the answers to those questions will require them to go back to school and finish. For some, it may actually be the end. They may not necessarily need to finish Matric. It depends on where life is taking them, and that depends on the answers that they come up with in asking themselves, who am I?
Most times we don't really speak about the parents and the influence of the parents in such cases. How do the parents then deal with their children or their child not making it through Matric, not passing, and having to make decisions of whether they go back and repeat, or you know, what options do they have, and the emotional roller coaster that as parents and the children go through, where you find that there may be support from a parent and on the other hand there may not be support from parents.
I think the parents, the best that the parents can do is be supportive to their children, to listen to their children, and also to find help, professional help, should the need arise. But the most important thing is to listen to them, to hear them out, and to understand that it is painful, that what the learners are going through, and that it may take time for them to recover. The best that they can do is to be of support to them, to listen to them, and to look out for signs of emotional distress. And if it comes to seeking help, The parents need to step up and help them find the help that they may need.
Now, on the other hand, young people have made it through, they've passed, they're going to university, some, are still waiting to find out what's next, some are taking a break. What lies ahead? What awaits them in this big world that everyone is excited for them to enter into?
Yes, okay. I mean, I would like to speak specifically to those who are going to universities. I want to say congratulations to them for the work, for the job well done in passing. But to also acknowledge that university it's not high school. It's a different ball game altogether. And for them, I would like to say, especially the top students, the overachievers, to say your matric results are wonderful, yes, but they get you into the door of a university. Once you are there, you need a different set of skills. You need something else. It's a different place with new challenges. I mean, I'm a student life coach. I coach a lot of students at CPUT in engineering, in chemical engineering specifically. Some of the challenges that students come up with, all of a sudden, they are far from home, they are alienated. Some students, they don't have accommodation. You know, they come all the way from KwaZulu-Natal, they find themselves in Cape Town, they don't have a place to stay. Some don't have food, some don't have books, some don't have transport money to travel. So there are a whole lot of new challenges that I experienced. I mean, apart from just, adjusting to university, to the pace, to the new content, to the new environment. So there are many challenges that they encounter. And failure as well. A lot of students have done very well in high school. They have not experienced failure. I mean, I remember in my first year that I was a top achiever. Those with distinctions. And I got there and I failed my maths test, and I was traumatized because your first experience of failure can hit you really hard. And some of them will experience failure for the first time. And this is why we hear stories of students who are attempting suicide. I mean, I don't know how many times of the students that I deal with, I've had cases of people wanting to attempt suicide. They don't know how to deal with failure. So parents will have to be very encouraging, also very understanding that there's a lot going on with the learners in university. It's not a child's play. So, yes.
Very quickly, we have run out of time, but I need to find out from you. It's a new year, it's a new decade, New Year's resolutions, young people, adults, and across the board, people make resolutions, but at some point, they kind of fall away and people don't stick to their New Year's resolutions.
Yes.
How do you deal with that?
Well, New Year's resolutions, it's something that people do every year. I think we are in a new decade now. Yeah. Let's pause and ask ourselves, why do I keep making the same New Year resolutions every single year and I never really get to achieve them? I think we need to pause. People need to now begin to ask themselves, what are the issues that are prohibiting me from achieving my New Year resolutions? We need to start to set less of them and identify and address the issues that stop us. I mean, what's the point of setting I will lose weight every single year and in February you are not even going to the gym anymore? Start slow, make realistic goals, and more importantly, get a coach if you need to. Find somebody to help you deal with the limiting issues that are affecting you from achieving those goals.
Dr. Mogashana, thank you so much for coming through and being with us on The Globe this evening.
Thanks a lot.
That was life coach Dr. Disa Mogashana speaking to us about those who passed Matric, those who did not make it, and how they need to deal with that. And as you heard, New Year's resolutions, how to sort of put them in focus and make sure that you achieve them at the end of the year.